This was not at all what I was expecting it to be. I had a vision in my mind when I saw the title. I got way more than I bargained for. Let's chat today about Dragon Curse by Elise Kova. This is an arc that I received for my review right before it released. I finished it last month. Welcome old and new friends. This is Arlene from Seaside Reads. I'm so glad you're spending time with me today. You can also find me over on Instagram at seasidereads.arlene, or let's be friends on Storygraph at Seaside Reads Arlene. Yes, that's it. It's all linked down below. All right, but today we're talking about Dragon Curse by Elise Kova. This is my second novel that I have explored from her immense catalog. She has quite a bit of novels, and I was lucky enough to actually score this art copy that came like right before it was released. So I was like a late addition to the art team, and she was new to me, but I was so grateful to have received this copy. The first novel that I read from her was Arcana Academy, and I'm going to do a standalone video on this one as well. I have a lot of feelings on this one that I cannot wait to read book 2, and recently found out that she's working on book 3, so I'm so excited. I've always been a big fantasy girl, but like in the 40 plus arena, the foggy brain and stuff is for real. So a lot of like intricate world buildings can be a bit challenging, more challenging than they used to be, but she has a way that it's still very intricate. There's still so many different layers, but even when I'm lost, I don't mind being lost. The way that she kind of just puts you in the picture, that even when you're confused and you still don't have the full picture altogether, you don't mind sitting in that discomfort for a little bit until everything kind of unravels in your brain. So this did very similar things to me, but I almost want to say, I don't know at this point. I'm still trying to decide if I enjoyed this one more than Arcana Academy, and this is completely different veins as well. I thought I knew what I was getting into when I saw Dragon Curse. Let's get into what this is about. But this gave me more than I was expecting. And the twists, let's just say that, like, wait, I'm very good about seeing twists coming. Not so much with this one. Not so much. I was not good at it at all. So I kind of got a little bit, just a tiny bit of the Hunger Game vibes, but add a lot more violence and magic, and as well as obviously dragons, but a little bit of that touch of like kind of Hunger Games, if that gives you a nice little picture. So we have Isola here. She is in this world that has been basically almost extinct. Humanity has almost died off because of dragons. So this very real, it's not a lore, they're active, they're part of this world. And actually there's a map in here, so let me show you that as we chat about what this is all about. I love when books have maps, y'all. And again, this is an art copy, not the final one. The final copy has beautiful edges and it's really pretty. I may add it to my collection, we shall see. But this is the map of her world, and I have to say, just when I thought that I understood everything going on in this world, another layer was added. So those like true epic fantasy readers, this will definitely be something that will keep you on your toes and keep you engaged, because just when you think you understand the whole like world building dynamics and you got all the pieces, then she throws like another angle at you, just like, oh, okay, and then you have a whole other thing to learn. But again, I didn't mind it. I did not mind it. So this is considered upper YA. I do appreciate that there is a content warning, at least in my copy that I have here. So we'll talk about that. Vingar is the city that is still left standing, was built to withstand dragon attacks, and the interesting part of this is there is tribunals. So everyone, when they come of age, they have to go through these trials to basically put them at some kind of extreme torture, make anyone that has been cursed to become a dragon, we'll get into that in a second, to turn into a dragon. And at that point, then those people will not be allowed into the city, and they're taken care of before they can wreak havoc on the city and destroy everything. Backstory that we get like little pieces of what happened to the city and why everything is like this. So there is all these like very strict rules. Again, this is where it kind of reminded me a little bit of Hunger Games, but think with magic. And it's not, I don't want to say that it's like Hunger Games with magic, because that's not fair. It just reminds me a little bit of that flavor. So I'll just say some other magic, but if you exhibit signs that may make the community scared, you may be seen as someone that has been dragon cursed. So it is believed, after this whole thing happened with humanity, that certain individuals are born cursed, and they do not know that they're going to turn into a dragon at some point, going through the tribunals with all these very extreme trials, and then you gain like citizenship. I'm kind of simplifying it a bit, if you prove that you are not cursed, because basically, like, you know, your mom, your aunt, your brother, your sister, your best friend, you know, can be sitting there and one day just like start turning into a dragon and take everybody out. So that is like the biggest fear, and even the individual does not know that they're cursed themselves. I believe 18 years old, so I'm thinking that was about the age of that you go through these trials, and your family basically willingly sends you to these trials. Nobody talks about what happens in these. You can't cheat or prepare for it. You can't, like, you know, try to practice for all these type of things or anything like that. Lore with this hero that is believed that the reincarnation of Valor is going to slay the elder dragon, and she is believed to be Valor Reborn. So she's referenced to that throughout the book, although she's not sure herself that she is Valor Reborn, or if she's dragon cursed herself, because she feels very different and like something is not quite right or wrong with the Victor, which is like kind of like the head guy. I believe he was the one that determined that she was basically the reincarnation of Valor, which is saved the city before, and now she's the reincarnation to save everyone once again. There was quite a bit of different characters as well, but I don't find that it was too confusing to keep up, which was a little bit of a departure from the first book that I read from her, was Arcana Academy. That one kind of bent my brain a little bit trying to keep track of those type of magic. So this one was a little bit easier to follow. The driving force for me was not so much the different magic that was presented with the sigils and the markings and trying to harness that. It was more of kind of uncovering the story. So we have a narrator that only has part of the story. So we are discovering things along with her. I think makes for a very intriguing and interesting read. We have that slow burn, which I think is pretty common with Elise Kova, because I had that same framework with Arcana Academy, where you really have to wait for that longing. Now, if you're reading this and determining spice is basically pretty tamed. Spice level, I would say, is pretty low. There's nothing explicit. There is a lot of implied moments. There is some intense like kissing and yearning and things like that. I would say that maybe 16 plus would be the sweet spot for this book, but obviously be your own pretty much constant tension throughout this title, like constant. It doesn't really let go of you, and I do appreciate books that do that in that framework. If you're not seeking for one of like my seaside reads where it's just like comforting, you can pick it, drop it off, and pick it up again. This will be a book that you basically forsake sleep for, and you just need to know what's gonna happen next or where things are gonna land. And just when you think that you have it and that you know where the story is going, Kova just says, there is quite a bit of character development that we see with Isola, we see with Lucan, which is the love interest slash we don't really know who he is. There's also friends that are there, and some other individuals that come across with Isola that we're not quite sure what their intentions are. Again, there is just so many different narratives happening, but it is very much centered on Isola's point of view, which I appreciated, because sometimes, like with epic fantasies, you have so many different voices happening at the same time that it can be a little bit hard to follow. It was still intricate enough for people that love all the different layers. It will definitely give you that. I honestly felt that this was a very different type of dragon story, because I could not, without giving anything away, I did not predict where this was heading. maybe one part I could see that happening. I could see that coming, 3/4 of the way or even halfway. I can see that happening. But one part I was just like, what? Where did that come from? But then when you look back at the story, then you see all the clues that you miss. And to me, I love when an author does that there is all these little eggs that they were dropping, but somehow you missed it. But then you go back and you're just like, to me, it felt like, the first time, I'm going to age myself again here, but when I watched Sixth Sense, and I was so pissed at myself. Obviously, I was like much younger when I watched that for the first time. I was so pissed at myself that I did not see it coming. The ending, I'm not going to ruin it for you if you've never watched it. I mean, I think pretty much everybody has, but I did not see that coming at all. And then I had to rewatch it and find all the places that I missed all the clues. And I was like, how can I not have seen that? And I'm always like really good about seeing twists and stuff like that coming. To me, this one felt like a similar vein, or was just like, what happened? So be attentive. I definitely think this is not one of your reads that you're gonna take to the beach and things like that. Maybe, but you probably want to take a little bit of notes and enjoy it as you go along. It wasn't too many characters that that things got lost. I did forget who a couple people here and there were, but again, that's my perimenopause brain there. The trials that Isola, Lucan, and the other supplicants went through, it didn't seem far-fetched, and I appreciated that, especially with fantasy, that it wasn't just like something that you couldn't really connect with. Obviously, it's like torture and stuff like that, so like you don't want to connect with that, but it felt real. It felt like something that could happen in this dystopian mythical type of world. I feel like there is certain parts that I did not fully grasp and understand, and I want to go back and reread those chapters and like, okay, explain it again. But again, I'm not mad at it. I am so happy that I stuck with this, because at first, at the beginning, I was a little bit like, okay, it was very, very fast paced and you're thrown right into the action. And I just was expecting that it was going to be another like cool dragon story. And I'm a mood reader, so it wasn't that it was bad or anything at the beginning at all. That was not the case. But I had to kind of convince myself to stick with it, because I'm like, I don't know if I'm really in the mood for another dragon story right at this moment. I kept to it because I had a feeling with the other novel that I read that she was going to take me somewhere else, and she delivered. This was fantastic. And to add, it has been optioned for a movie. I can't wait to see this as a movie as well. But more importantly, I can't wait to read book 2, because you definitely, I'm gonna warn you right now, and if you don't like that, this is a duology. It's not gonna wrap it up pretty for you. You're gonna be waiting for book 2, and I'm excited to see book 2. But those are my scattered thoughts on Dragon Curse from Elise Kova. Thank you so much for Mayhem Books and Tango Publication and Elise Kova for this art copy. I'm gonna be a moment, like it's been a few days since I finished this, and I'm still like, so how much longer to book 2? I need answers, and I need them badly. This is this is a really great read. This is a really great read. I think you could do no wrong if you pick this up. If this is your genre, if this is your vibe, this one, pick it up. I'll see you guys next time for another review. I don't know what I'm gonna share with you next. I have so many. I have so many on my list I need to chat about. Bye.